Welcome to Twisted Locker, your definitive horror podcast. Today, Jenks, we're going to be talking about the greatest ghost movies ever made. What have you got for me?
Okay. First up, again, these first two are not in order. I'm a big fan of this film. Came out in 1982, directed by Tobe Hooper, an awesome director, and it's Poltergeist. Now, why I love this film is such a clever thing. So it doesn't take place in like a creepy haunted house in the middle of nowhere, a cabin in the woods. And it's just a normal, brand new house in a new build in like a cul-de-sac. Nothing scary, but a proper picket fences. Steven Spielberg sort of E.T. vibe to it, even though there's a chance he may have directed it. There's a bit of rumour about that. But it's totally, completely safe environment, normal family.
Yeah.
And the shit it's a fan. It's one of the most haunted houses ever. I love. So when Carol Ann gets taken into the other side by the spirits, gets dragged in the bedroom. I love when they bring the team over before they bring the little lady. I forgot her name now. Oh, what was her name? It's gone. But when they bring the team in, a bit like Insidious. And while one of the guys in the glasses, is talking about a toy, I think it moved a few inches and you couldn't see with a naked eye, but he's saying like an anecdote, like he's impressing the father, and he's like, all right, whatever. And they open Carol Ann's door, and it's just everything's flying around, and it's just like, yeah, this is the real thing. And the scene as well, it's a fucking terrifying scene where that same guy, I think, one of the guy with glasses, starts peeling his skin off his face. And it's so horrendous. It almost doesn't suit the tone of the film because it's quite a family-friendly sort of horror.
Yeah.
But that scene takes it up. Oh, my God, this is really disturbing. No, it's just his skin first. Peels his skin off.
He's peeling it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, everything about that film is awesome. The ending's a bit ropey. You can laugh at it now because it's an old film, you can forgive stuff, but there's a bit, the end is so laughable. So they get Carol, spoiler alert, they get Carol Ann out to the other side. The mother takes her out with the rope. And they get her out and everything calms down. And they spend one more night sleeping there. So the father goes out to work. The mother has a bath. And the kids go back to bed in the same room that she was dragged into the other world. And they're like, that is ridiculous. You sleep in a bus shelter anywhere but there with you. I don't care how calm things are going. And then, behold, shit hits the fan again. But I'm just nitpicking now. I can't help it. I shouldn't really. It's a habit of mine. Looking for bad things. I love it. It's awesome. What are your thoughts of that, boy?
Yeah, absolute classic, Jenks. Easily one of the greatest ghost movies ever made. And it's got one of the best final scenes of all time when they're staying in the motel and you just see the father chuck the TV out. Great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, then. Can you pick?
My first pick is going to be probably what I think is the best ghost story and possibly one of the scariest films I've ever seen. I actually, watched this when I was young and I haven't really watched it since. It terrified me so much, right? That it's like a trauma, it's like PTSD, is the original 1989 Woman in Black. Oh my God, This film killed me. Banned from TV when it came out because it was too scary. It had no right being on BBC for everybody to watch. Yeah, it was taken off the air. Thousands of Ofcom complaints.
What's wrong with people?
I agree with it, Jenks, right? Because I watched this film when I was young. I remember Byron, our uncle, got me a copy of it. I went into it thinking it was any old horror film. And oh my God, I think I cried. I think I remember crying because this film absolutely killed me. It's just the build-up, the eeriness, everything about it. You can stop your laughing, right, James, because I must have been about 2 when I watched this. 2 years old.
Terrible father you've got. Terrible uncle.
Yeah, no, I wasn't 2. I was a bit older than that. But
2.
I remember, specifically, there's 2 scenes that stuck with me for the rest of my life. Is one first scene when he's in bed, the whole setup of that scene I'm just getting cold now talking about it. He's lying in bed, and you hear the kid laughing, the kid talking to him, and it's just that build up. And the bit, right, that really kills me is the laugh, and then the sound gets swallowed, and then the shadow. Oh my god. Is one of the most horrific scenes ever made. No CGI, no stunts, nothing.
She
Just an
floating above him.
actress floating above him,
Yeah.
and it is horrific. And then the other scene then is when she's just standing on the moors, and she's got the scariest face ever, those piercing eyes. But above all that, right, it's a great horror film, but it is also just a fantastic story. The whole story of it, Susan Hill's novel, is just fantastic. I read the novel as well. It's not as scary as the film because I couldn't see the woman in black. But I actually went to watch the stage play a couple of weeks ago. Really enjoyed it. When I got back then, I thought I'd give Danny Radcliffe's remake another go, because when it came out, I didn't give it a fair shake. I was expecting to be as scared as it was in the original, and I just wasn't when I watched in cinema, so I just panned it off. But oh my god, it's one of the best remakes ever. It's fantastic. It's so well made. Danny Radcliffe's brilliant in there. And my memory of it was a CGI fest, but it wasn't. I think I don't know what I was thinking, but it's not a CGI fest. The woman in black is great in there. It's got some genuinely scary scenes. I'm just a big fan of everything Woman in Black. It's one of the greatest ghost movies ever. What do you think, Jax?
I've seen the Danny Radcliffe one and the sequel. I've seen the remake. I've read the book. I've seen the play. I'm a big fan. I really like the Danny Radcliffe one because I just think it was his first mainstream film after Harry Potter, and I think it was just so much eyes on him. Oh, this Harry Potter. But when you forget about that, it's creepy. But I do agree with you. The old one, the BBC one, because sometimes, like, when you haven't got that Hollywood sheen and you've got that sort of BBC cheaper production, it's something a bit more disturbing.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what it is. It's not like it's cheaply made bad acting. It's just something a bit raw, more raw about it, you know? And
100% agree with you.
It's terrifying. Yes,
do you know, I've got friends, right, who now and again I'll get a Facebook message. It'll say so and so sent you a picture and a loop in it, and it'll be her floating over the bed. Every now and again I'll get one of those because everybody knows how much that film scares me. Nothing has scared me like that, honestly.
Yeah, good choice.
But that's my pick, Jenks. What have you got for me?
Okay, one last pick for my final. I was torn between this being a number one spot. I love this film. It came out in 1999, made by a relatively new director called M. Night Shyamalan, and it's Sixth Sense. It's fucking awesome. I stuck it on for my daughter the other day, right? She's only 13. And it was... Spoiler alert. Okay? Spoiler alert. He's dead the whole time, okay? Okay? It's been 24 years it came out, yeah? You've got plenty of time. So, I stuck it on for my daughter, right? And it's the most famous twist of all time, right? And I'd say it's probably the best twist of all time. There's lots of good twists, but to have something in plain sight all the way through, you get shot at the start, and he doesn't make any interaction as usual. So that is much better than just a revelation. It was the bid man who killed him. It was this. This is all the way through, hidden in plain sight. And it's very hard to do that. You couldn't do it now because people are more suspicious of twists. So you had like one chance to do it. But I stuck it off my daughter, and she didn't know anything about the film. She'd heard the phrase, "I see dead people." I thought, oh, let's stick it on. And you know when the twist gets revealed, she goes, "Oh my God, he's dead." You know, I goosebumps of like, oh,
I bet.
It still has life. 24 years later, still has life. And she loved it. It was slow, but the thing is, years ago, right, compared to now, you don't have to have a jump scare for 5 seconds. These now, it's a churn. Like I watched What Lies Beneath with my daughter the other day, and it's very slower than I remember. But I think they should take more risks years ago. Like, no, we got time. We don't have to worry about throwing things constantly, you know. So I love it. The acting's great in it. Bruce Willis is brilliant in it, and it is, putting aside the twist, right? It's a fucking scary film. It's really creepy,
It's terrifying.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, cracking pick, Jenks. That's another film that killed me when I was young. I remember getting it on VHS from a friend, and oh my god, there's so many scenes in that film that plagued me. Specifically, when he gets locked in the cupboard by that bully, and you don't know what's in there, but he's screaming. Oh my god, it's horrific. Yeah, absolutely fantastic pick, Jenks. It was almost in my top ones. But the next one I'm going to mention, look, there's so many films I can mention this one. I'm a massive fan of ghost movies, but I specifically want to mention this one. It is new, and I may get flack from you, gents, for mentioning such a new film. But because it's new, and I'm absolutely mad about this film at the moment, and I think it's one of the best modern horror movies already. It's fresh, it's scary, it's new. It's Danny and Michael Philippou's Talk to Me. I went to cinema to watch this, right, and it didn't have much traction on the build up. Quite a small release from A24. I knew about it because I was fans of Danny and Michael Philippou. I was that right age where I watched them coming up on YouTube, the Raka Raka videos, and they showed promise back then. Their videos were insane. I loved their videos. I was big fans of them. So obviously, following their YouTube stuff, I'd already seen that they were making a film, but I did not expect them to pull a film like this out of the bag. I went to cinema to watch this, right? And I was absolutely blown away. I don't even think, right, I breathed watching it. When I got out of cinema, I had to take deep breaths. I was so overwhelmed by how good this film was. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me. It's had a lot of traction at the moment. It's just premiered on Netflix. It's in the top 10. I'm so happy, right, that this film's getting love. Because when I watched it, I thought, oh my God, this film has to do well. Everybody has to see this film. The tension, the dread, the build-up, everything in this film was spot on. And for me, right, the scariest ghost I've ever seen, specifically the drowned woman, the first ghost you see where she first touches the embalmed hand. When you get that little glimpse of her, oh my God, I got goosebumps thinking of it. I went to watch it in cinema with my girlfriend, and the both of us had the same reaction leaving. Just absolutely floored. It is the best cinema experience I've ever had by far.
I'm a big fan of it as well. I saw it in the cinema and I saw it on Netflix. And do you know what's good about it? It's Australian and it's a little bit grittier. It has
Yeah,
all the teens look like normal teens. They're not all like Hollywood teens, all looking perfect. They're all looking flawed. And there's something about Australian films, a bit like British films, because you haven't got a budget like Hollywood. They tend to be a bit more gritty and grounded.
yeah,
And my wife loved it as well. I would say the only gripe I had with it was probably I don't like when the camera stays on too long to a ghost. When the ghosts are popping up, I'd rather it be shorter. When longer you see a ghost, the sillier they look. But
yeah.
I still give it a solid 4 stars. It was awesome. Good choice.
Right, Jenks, I think we're on your top spot. What have you got?
All right, right. You're gonna lynch me for this one. I don't care. I love it. I know it's not the best ghost film ever made. Right? Neither is neither is my favorite zombie film the best film ever made. Most of my favorites aren't the best, but this is my personal favorite. You're gonna lynch me because it's 1990s awesome Patrick Swayze's Ghost. Yeah, I said it. Ghost.
Oh
I
my
know.
God, Jenks.
I
You can't.
absolutely. I don't care. I love it. I absolutely. That's in my top 5, top 10 favorite films of all time.
You're
It's not a chick
insane,
flick.
honestly. Oh
It's
my
not a
God,
chick
Jenks.
flick.
You have blown my
Okay,
mind.
I love it. It's got everything. And do you know who directed that film? Jerry Zucker, who did Airplane. You never think. That film's got everything. A love story, supernatural, demons from hell, Whoopi Goldberg's comedy.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
What else has they got? And a murder mystery. It's awesome. Oh, come on. I bet you've never even seen it.
I've seen it loads of
It
times. It's
is
a great
awesome.
film. But
I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite films of all time. And you know, in my wedding, right, we had table names of different films, okay? And one of them was Ghost. That's how good it was. Yes. Yeah, I knew I knew you moan, but I love it. You know, I was, it was between, you're going to laugh at this now. My top spot today was between Ghost and The Shining.
Not a ghost film.
Yeah, listen,
Well, it
don't
is,
slag off
but
Pat. Don't slag off
hey,
Pat.
never.
Okay? He's a
Patrick
legend.
Swayze's a goddamn saint. No, Jenks,
Yes.
it's a cracking film. I just didn't expect to hear Ghost on,
Yeah.
especially for, I just spoke about Talk to Me, the most intense horror movie, and then you're speaking about Ghost. You just brought the mood right down, Jenks. I don't even feel like
Well,
revealing my top spot
listen,
now.
I could have given you Ghostbusters and you would have moaned about that, you know, but it's an awesome film. It's got ghosts in it. What are you going to do? It's just off your head, don't you? You just think about creepy stuff. But Ghostbusters
Yeah, in all
is one of
fairness.
the best films. Yeah.
In all
Right,
fairness.
what's your last one then? Give us your... It's not Ghostbusters, is it?
Right, my top spot is a real horror film, I'll have you know, and one of the scariest movies ever made. From the master James Wan, it's got to be the first Conjuring movie. Right, similar to Talk to Me, another experience I had in cinema where I was absolutely blown away. And I can't believe, right? Well, I can believe it's fantastic. The franchise, back then, knowing if I knew back then the franchise that this thing was going to spawn over,
Yeah.
what is it, 8 movies, a $1 billion franchise. A lot of weak eggs in there, but there's a lot of good ones, specifically Conjuring 1 and 2. But the first one, oh my god, it's such a great film. And you know what it does, right? The famous saying, the less you see, the better. It worked well for Paranormal Activity, very well. He threw that out the window for this one. You see everything, and it still works so well. It's absolutely terrifying. There's so many scenes in this film, specifically the build-ups as well, before you see anything, are absolutely on point. The house as well, the house is great for a haunting. Even before anything happens ghost-related, you're scared, because the setting, the time it's set in, everything about it, the build-up's great. It's just an absolutely fantastic film. One I go back to a lot, and I'm just so upset, right, that James Wan has kind of given up on the Conjuring franchise. He hasn't directed one since Conjuring 2. He keeps palming them off to other people to direct, and I really felt it in The Devil Made Me Do It. It is by far the weakest Conjuring film. In fact, I was actually upset getting out of cinema after watching that one, because I'm such a big fan of the first two. A few of the spin-offs, Annabelle Creation is fantastic. I was so upset, right? I think, if anything, he has to direct the Conjuring films. I can forgive him for not directing the spin-offs, that's fine, but he has to direct the Conjuring films. They're doing one more, The Last Rite, and he's not directing it, so God knows how that's going to end up.
I'm a big fan of that film, and do you know what's great about it? Is that it doesn't do anything that hasn't been done a million times, but it just does it really well. The girl getting possessed, the woman getting possessed, the creepy house, everything about it. The two things that stand out for me, my number one favourite bit in that is the simplicity of there's someone standing in the corner when it's just dark in the bedroom, and you can't see anybody. You just like looking, but she can see something. That to me is far better than any big monster or creepy scene. It's just like, oh my god, there's a dark corner, and it just invokes that feeling as a child when you're in bed and you're thinking, the more you look at something, the more creepy it looks, like it's something hanging on your door or something. I love the clapping. I do that for my daughter, so she's down the basement sometimes. My daughter's down the basement watching horror films, and I'll open the door and I'll go.
Sadistic, Jenks.
Yeah, I gotta do it. I love doing it every time. And she screams it. Yeah, good pick.
Brilliant.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, there we are. So that wraps up today's video, guys. Just remember, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.